That's on my face when we running your place, and we need every combination to the safe. And then if you corroborate, everyone say got a Spanish bitch, yeah, she love giving me face. I say, little bitch, do you like how this shit taste? She said, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, and seis. Tryna figure out how I'm gon' get on my deal. I'm a bad boy, I'm reverend, I feel like I'm Mace. Your bitch with me, but she got leave by 8, cause you know Lil Uzi do not walk with no kick. Don't ride no bait, but my niggas, they apes, and we walk with...
Yo, what's good? Welcome to the first reaction video on the channel. I ain't even gonna say much, we just gonna hop right into it. Perfect! The beam eggs, nigga. Yeah, that shit is back. That shit is back. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. But back in my heyday, nigga. Back in my heyday, nigga. I was one of the highest reaction channels on this platform, nigga. I don't even know. Keep it a beam for eggs. I keep it a beam if you don't know. Means I tell the truth. And nothing but the truth. Let's get into it, bro.
According to one of the strangest and most controversial ideas in anthropology, early humans evolved partly because they ate psychedelic mushrooms. It's called the stoned ape theory, and it asks a wild question. What if psilocybin was the secret ingredient behind human consciousness? It's a kind of idea that sounds...
This is crazy, bro. They saying humans became humans because apes was getting high and shit back in the day. And that's how, like, their mental capacities expanded into what we know today, which is humans, you know what I'm saying? Which is crazy to think about, because, like, that really means, like, weed is, like, marijuana, Mary Jane, whatever you want to call it, shrooms. That means they, like, really the father of humans, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was really created because of Mary Jane, marijuana, shrooms,
like a plot to a science fiction novel, but it's a real hypothesis, and it's captured the imagination of psychonauts, mystics, and even curious scientists ever since. But before we dismiss it or believe it, let's see where the evidence actually leads.
So there's evidence? Let's see.
In the book Food of the Gods, Terence McKenna laid out one of the most controversial and psychedelic ideas ever proposed about human evolution. That the leap from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens was triggered not by fire, tools, or language.
Homo erectus? Nah, nigga, I ain't never heard no shit like that. What is Homo erectus?
Terrence's leap from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens was triggered not by fire, tools, or language, but by psilocybin mushrooms. He believed this shift happened during a critical environmental turning point. Around 2 million years ago, much of Africa was drying out. The lush tropical forests that once supported early hominins began to shrink. Climate shifts led to increasing desertification, pushing our ancestors out of the trees and into open savannas. Fruit became harder to find, and the old forest-based diets were no longer reliable. So our ancestors, like many species under pressure, adapted. They began following herds of grazing animals across...
So what you saying is Africa is really the motherland and we all come from it. I knew it, you know what I'm saying, type shit. That's all I get from this video. That's all I get from this video, nigga. What you gotta say about that?
Across the grasslands, scavenging whatever they could. From insects to tubers to whatever they found growing in the dung left behind by large herbivores. And this is where McKenna's theory kicks in. He proposed that, while foraging in this new environment, our ancestors came across psilocybe cubensis, a psychoactive mushroom that naturally grows in cattle dung. Curious and hungry, they ate it. And according to McKenna, that moment, repeated over generations, sparked nothing less than a cognitive revolution. He claimed that at low doses, the psilocybin sharpened visual acuity, specifically edge detection, making early humans better hunters. They could spot predators, track prey, and navigate their surroundings more effectively. McKenna cited research from the 1960s by Roland Fisher and others who showed that psychedelics can heighten certain types of sensory perception. At slightly higher doses, he believed that the mushroom increased sexual arousal and energy, giving individuals a reproductive edge. Those who consumed the mushroom were more alert, more active, and more likely to mate, passing on their genes and giving rise to a population with both behavioral and neurological advantages. But the most radical part of McKenna's theory comes with the higher doses. He believed that psilocybin, in these larger amounts, helped dissolve the ego and blur the boundaries between self and other. This, he argued, would have promoted strong social bonding, communal rituals, and even group sexual practices. McKenna imagined early tribes gathering together in mushroom-induced ecstasy. forming deep connections that led to greater genetic mixing and a shared sense of responsibility for the group's offspring. He also believed that these experiences were deeply spiritual. The visions, the sense of awe, the disintegration of the self, all of it, he thought, gave rise to the very first religious impulses. Our ancestors weren't just high, they were having what felt like encounters with the divine. Most importantly, McKenna argued that these altered states of consciousness stimulated activity in the brain regions tied to language, imagination, and symbolic thought. He claimed that this was the real origin of art, music, and spoken language. The mushroom wasn't just a drug, it was a neurological key that unlocked higher cognition. To McKenna, psilocybin mushrooms weren't just part.
No, you can't tell me this nigga wasn't high though. Look at him, bro. He looked like he looked like he, you know what I'm saying? Like he looked like he was on that shit. You telling me this dude didn't do shrooms while thinking about this hypothesis? It was like, yo, you know what? Shrooms is really like the basis of all human life, bruh. Like, come on now, look at them.
They were the driving force behind everything we now associate with being human. Culture, religion, storytelling, scientific thinking, it all began in his eyes with the discovery of a psychedelic fungus growing in animal tongue on the African savanna. It's a theory that sounds a little absurd on the surface, but it touches on something primal, something about curiosity, transformation, and the way altered states might shape who we are. McKenna's theory was not accepted by mainstream paleoanthropology, but his writing continued to live in the public consciousness. In recent years, the theory has gained some popularity with mycologist Paul Stamets. Mycologists study fungi, and though Stamets is mostly self-taught, he's widely recognized for advancing mushroom cultivation and public awareness of mycology. At a 2017 psychedelic science conference, Stamets stepped up to defend and modernize Terence McKenna's stoned ape theory. In his talk, Psilocybin Mushrooms and the Mycology of Consciousness, Stamets argued that the sudden doubling of the human brain starting 2 million years ago remains a mystery, and that psychedelics might offer a plausible explanation. Echoing McKenna, he imagined that early humans wandering the savannah, stumbling across psilocybin mushrooms growing from dung, eating them, and then experiencing dramatic shifts in perception and cognition. Stamets didn't claim to prove
high as shit. You can't tell me this nigga don't be getting high as shit either, bro. Look at
the idea,
They all look
but he
like
urged listeners to
potheads.
consider it a very, very plausible hypothesis for the rapid evolution of Homo sapiens. The stone ape theory is undeniably fascinating. It's bold, imaginative, and taps into some of the deepest questions about consciousness and our early evolution. But now it's time to take a closer look and see if his ideas stand up to scrutiny. First, a quick clarification. Despite the name, it's not actually a theory in the scientific sense. It's a hypothesis, an intriguing idea based on limited evidence, one that hasn't been rigorously tested or widely accepted by the scientific community. In everyday language, we often use theory to mean a guess. But in science, a theory is something far more substantial, a well-supported explanation backed by a strong body of evidence. If you take one thing away from this video, it is that the word theory and a hypothesis are not interchangeable.
Okay, they're two separate things.
Okay, now let's dive into early evolution, one of my favorite topics. McKenna posited that around 2 million years ago, much of Africa was drying out. The lush tropical forests that once supported early hominins began to shrink. Climate shifts led to increasing desertification, pushing our ancestors out of the trees and into open savannas. He is partially correct in this assessment, as Africa was drying out and the savanna was expanding between 2.8 to 2.5 million years ago. However, his idea about our ancestors being pushed onto the savanna is largely out of date. We know that hominins had been living in open environments long before the genus Homo even appeared. The Australopithecines, the predecessors to our genus, appeared over 4 million years ago. They were adapted to open environments as well as sparsely wooded environments. We know for a fact that the earliest species in our genus, such as Homo erectus and Homo habilis, were perfectly adapted to open environments as far as 2 million years ago. So the aridification of Africa didn't force early humans onto the savanna, but rather they were already adapted to it. But this might actually play in McKenna's favor, as in these open environments, dung-loving psychedelic mushrooms were common. Genetic analysis suggests that Psilocybe cubensis, one of the most well-known magic mushrooms, likely existed across Africa well over 2 million years ago. However, they may have only been available during wetter seasons of the year. McKenna hypothesized that early hominids looking in the dung of large herbivores for grubs would have often come across these mushrooms. This is plausible as other primate species today, such as baboons and chimpanzees, flip over dung and dig through it to find beetle larvae and grubs. Assuming that early humans would have tried these mushrooms from time to time.
What the hell is this picture, bro? Nah, nigga. What is this picture this guy's using? No, bro. Use a better picture.
It is possible that they recognize them as an entertaining and stimulating experience.
Don't use that
After all,
picture at
a
all.
handful of animals appear to seek out recreational substances. For example, multiple species, including chimps, will eat fermented fruit seemingly to enjoy the alcohol. Some monkeys in the Caribbean have become full-on alcoholics, and dolphins have been observed inhaling pufferfish toxins, and species, including chimps, will eat fermented fruit seemingly to enjoy the alcohol. Some monkeys in alcoholics, and dolphins have been observed inhaling pufferfish toxins and acting inebriated. It is entirely possible that early hominins recognized the effects of mushrooms and enjoyed them, but could these substances have given them an edge? At the heart of the stoned ape hypothesis is the idea that consuming psilocybin mushrooms gave early hominins a survival advantage, perhaps enhancing cognition, perception, or social bonding in ways that accelerated brain evolution. But from an evolutionary and scientific standpoint, this claim is highly speculative and lacks empirical support. To begin with, let's address McKenna's claims that low doses of psilocybin mushrooms can enhance visual acuity, particularly edge detection, giving early humans an advantage in hunting and survival.
This music made me want to like.
This is one of McKenna's most specific and most misunderstood claims. According to him, sharper eyesight meant better tracking of prey, quicker spotting of predators, and ultimately more food and offspring. He often cited experiments by pharmacologist Roland Fisher to support this idea, claiming that his work showed that psilocybin improved vision in measurable ways. But here's the problem. That study didn't actually test visual acuity. What Fisher's team measured was depth perception and spatial distortion, not the ability to see fine details or sharpen visual edges. McKenna essentially took a study about altered perception and spun it into a story about enhanced vision. Furthermore, Fisher et al. Stated that psilocybin may not be conducive to the survival of an organism. To this day, no peer-reviewed research has shown that psilocybin improves human visual acuity. It alters perception, yes, it intensifies colors, distorts space, and can even make the world feel hyper-detailed, but those effects are subjective, and not the same as objectively seeing better. In fact, most controlled studies show that psychedelics introduce visual distortions, not clarity. Even modern microdosing trials, where people take tiny amounts of psychedelics to boost performance, have failed to show consistent benefits to perception or cognition. So did psilocybin make our ancestors see like hawks? Probably not. McKenna's claim is imaginative, but it stretches the data beyond what the science supports. The idea of sharper vision under mushrooms may feel true to someone in the moment, but from an evolutionary standpoint, there's just no proof that this would actually work.
No proof.
Another one of McKenna's claims was that the use of these mushrooms led to a rapid increase in the size of the human brain. This is a legitimately interesting question. Why did the human brain supposedly double in a period of roughly 2 million years? Well, let's break down the increase in the human brain size based on species. Our genus evolved from Australopithecines, small-bodied, upright walking hominids with a brain size of around 400 to 550 cubic centimeters. Then, with the emergence of our genus, was Homo habilis dating to 2.4 million years ago with a brain size of 500 to 775 cubic centimeters. Then, Homo erectus appeared 2 million years ago, first with a slightly larger brain, and then by around 500,000 years ago, their descendants commonly had brains over 1,000 cubic centimeters. By the time our species appeared 300,000 years ago, hominids all over the world had brains larger than ours today. More than 1,500 cubic.
Could humans still evolve? Like, are we still evolving? Is this gonna be the last step of our evolution, or is it gonna be, another like
centimeters? This
what
includes
are humans
Neanderthals,
like
our ancestors,
2
and East Asian
million
hominids
years
like
from
Homo
now?
longi and likely Denisovans. Point being, the human brain size continued to increase around the world in varied environments. It wasn't unique to our species or to the savanna. Hominins in Europe to Southeast Asia were involving increasingly larger brains, except Homo floresiensis, but they were getting really small. It is difficult to reconcile this with the stoned ape theory. The idea that mushroom use from animal dung on the savanna led to our larger brains and higher intelligence doesn't square with our evidence. What about the other populations that may have not even had access to psychedelic mushrooms? Their brains were increasing as well, and this trend clearly goes back millions of years to the origin of our genus. The evolution of our brain is very unique, but it wasn't necessarily rapid. We were talking about 3 million years. There are plenty of other models that seek to explain why our brains got larger, and many models have hypothesized that the advent of cooking and meat consumption led to the surplus calories required to evolve a large brain. Other popular ideas surround social complexity and tool use. Ancient humans had an incredible amount of skills to master, places to remember, and relationships to keep intact. Such a demanding lifestyle may have led to the growth of the brain. In fact, both Neanderthals and early modern humans had significantly larger brains than we have today. Over the past 20,000 years, we have lost about a tennis ball worth of brain volume. Our modern brains might be more efficient than the brains of the past, making a smaller brain better overall. But the point is, ancient humans had incredibly complex lives and needed bigger brains. But perhaps the biggest problem with McKenna's hypothesis is also the most fundamental. Evolution only works on traits that are heritable, that is, traits passed down through genes. Eating a mushroom might temporarily shift your perception, boost your mood, or even make you more socially outgoing, but it doesn't rewrite your DNA. Those effects vanish in hours. They're not passed on to your children. Now, to be fair, McKenna did try to address this. He speculated that psilocybin increased sexual arousal and sociability, which could theoretically lead to more mating and more offspring. In this hypothetical scenario, the individuals who consumed mushrooms would have reproduced more often, gradually tipping the genetic scales in their favor. But here's the issue. There's no evidence this ever happened. We have no data suggesting that.
Alright, so y'all want to see the rest of this video? Go check out this guy's channel. North02, the Shrooms Make Us Human type shit. Basically, what I got out of this video is that Stone Age theory is a hypothesis, not really a theory. You know what I'm saying? And there's really no evidence to support it. Yeah. If y'all like the video, hit the like button. I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all time. If y'all didn't learn something, if you didn't learn something, I mean, shit, I barely learned anything, but shit, you know what I'm saying? Hit the like button, sub to the channel. I'm gonna see y'all niggas in the next video. I'm telling you, I'm about to go crazy. This channel about to grow. You don't want to miss out. You want to be the first 10 subs, my nigga. You want to be the first 100. Cause I'm telling you, like by 2 weeks from now, we gonna have like 100 subs. I'm already calling.
I'm off a beam, busting off a molly. I can feel this shit on my body. Keep it a bean, you ain't really rotten. Keep it a bean, you ain't really.